I would definitely recommend venue, food, and music. I mean, those are your top three major aspects to a wonderful affair. You know, cocktails, eating and drinking, dancing, can't go wrong.
My one piece of advice is to actually budget for the wedding. Before you go and you meet with the DJ, or before you go and meet with the venue, make sure you know how much money you want to spend. It'll make it a lot easier when you're trying to budget.
Know what you can afford. You gotta know what you can afford. I mean, you know, go with the venue, ask questions. You know, when you pay an administrative fee, is it including my valet parking and my wait staff and my linens and my maitre d' and my coat check? You know, these are hidden fees that other venues could catch on. So you want to make sure that these things are included. And I think a bride and a groom and families just know what that budget is. And we can make it work depending on season, depending on day versus an evening, or buffet versus a sit-down dinner. We're pretty good with customizing as well. But I think you should know that before time what that final number should come out to be. So an unexpected fee, which is a bittersweet because of the fact that sometimes I'll have my bride and grooms that are having the best night of their life, which is all the time. And what happens is they don't want to go home. They don't want to go home. They don't want to end the wedding. So yes, it becomes an extension to a fantastic evening, but it also becomes an expense. With the venue's overtime fee, the band or DJ might have that additional hour service fee as well, the photographer. So these are all considered overtime charges. But if you're having a good time, extend it. That's a reason to do so.
The biggest cost that's going to catch a bride off guard is not budgeting for every guest that you invite. A lot of times a bride will say, oh, I have about, I think, 150 guests, but my invite list is 250. You have to budget for 250 guests. And then if you have less, be pleasantly surprised. The one thing with your guests, they're not going to RSVP when you tell them to. You're going to have to get on the phone and give them a call. And that's going to avoid people showing up the day of the wedding that thought they were coming but you didn't know about. Be on top of your guest list and there won't be any surprises the day of.
It's something that a bride would need to question on a photographer. You know, for example, does this include the books and the thank you cards and the photo albums and the DVD? Or is that all additional expenses? Does it, you know, a lot of times my brides will need a microphone or a background music for ceremony, and a lot of times a band will include that, and sometimes in the end they don't. So that's another thing that they would want to discuss with their vendors and ask them those questions, because again, everybody has a hidden fee somewhere and you don't know, and you don't want to get hit with that last minute.
We at Landmark Hospitality do not have any hidden fees that we don't tell you about. However, you have to be careful. Sometimes you may not know that gratuity is included in your contract, but you'll pay gratuity on top of the gratuity that you've already paid. So you want to look at those little things in the contract, and you want to make sure that you know about all costs with all your vendors up front. Don't be afraid to ask. All of our Landmark locations include everything. Your linens, different colors to choose from. They include your valet, your maitre d', your bridal attendant. But some venues are not like that. So you definitely want to double check, and you want to make sure that you're not going to have to pay for these items that should be included. You don't want to have to pay for a bathroom attendant at your wedding day. One should just be there to clean the bathrooms.
Budget weddings usually go with our off-season months. Although we are fortunate enough to be booked out a lot, with all of our months. Usually it's the January, February, and March. But I do get clients that'll come in saying, I want that Winter Wonderland look. They might not even be on a budget, it just might be that that's the month that they want. But usually it's those months that would be a little less expensive. Or anything that's gonna be coming up very soon within that year will definitely help you with savings. Holiday, one of my favorite secret dates, other than the Labor Days and the Memorial Days, and I've booked it in the past so many times, would be the night before Thanksgiving, which is a Wednesday night, considered Thanksgiving Eve, and it is one of the biggest nights to go out and party. So why not have a wedding? I mean, you know, everybody's off not only one day, but for 4 days. That Black Friday, again, is another date that you do have off, and you can take advantage of that as well.